Yes, you, watching this video. Do you want to own a piece of Scribbler? Only not a lock of hair or blood or flesh or anything else that will get you in trouble with the law? Well, now you can, with t-shirts, hoodies, tote bags and mugs featuring Obab Scribbler at her Teespring store. You know you want to. I shall now stop talking in third person and send you on to the video. Be lovely to each other and enjoy the show.
Hello?
Twilight asked as she tilted her head, confused by the 3 ponies standing outside her castle.
Can I help you?
Yes, you certainly can.
A white stallion with pepper-black hair dotted with white speckled answered.
My name is Picky Paper, and these are my associates, Motormouth and Record Keeper.
Nice to meet you, Miss Sparkle.
Record Keeper said politely yet flatly. All business as she extended her hoof to the alicorn.
That's Princess Sparkle, but it's nice to meet you as well.
Twilight said nervously as she carefully shook hooves with each of the 3.
Actually, you can't be a princess, seeing as neither of your parents are descendants of royalty.
Motormouth said factually.
Not to mention, you hardly look like a princess. I mean, you're so short for a princess and you have unbrushed bed hair. It looks like you just woke up.
Well, I did, actually.
Twilight said, already frowning at the 3 of them.
But what is this all about? What are you 3 doing here?
Well, simply put, we are here with Ponyville's Homeowner Association to discuss your, residence.
This?
The mayor asked, slightly confused before smiling and continuing.
My castle isn't a residence. It's a government building, just like Princess Celestia's castle in Canterlot and Cadence's castle in the Crystal Empire. So, sorry guys.
Record Keeper stepped forward, and with a very intimidating look asked,
Miss Sparkle?
That's Princess Sparkle, please.
The alicorn got out as she took a step back, Record Keeper trying to close the distance between them.
Where exactly do you live?
Ponyville, obviously.
The mayor answered, clearly avoiding the question.
But I don't see how...
And what building in Ponyville might that be again?
Well, this one, but that doesn't...
Well, according to Ponyville status, a home is any residence that's continuously inhabited for at least 108 days of the year. It's safe to say that you stayed in this residence that long, correct?
Well, yes, but...
So then if that's the case, since it falls within the boundaries of Ponyville, it's required that it abides by the code set in the Ponyville Homeowners Association, or you'll be fined accordingly and or your castle will be demolished.
I didn't opt in to be part of an HOA, and the equestrian charter that was written when Celestia became ruler says that I can't...
You accepted membership by placing your castle within city limits. As a Pino, I'd think you know these things, Miss Sparkle.
What? What is a Pino?
Princess in name only. As I said, you're not related to authority, and I can't see how Celestia made you princess of all ponies, seeing as you hardly govern anything. You only sit with your friends all day and eat hay fries from what I've seen. It looks like all the weight's gone to your flanks, honestly.
No, it hasn't. And I do more than that. I've been actually working on some... Actually, no, I'm not getting into this. Show me what's wrong with my castle, and I'll get it fixed, and you'll be out of my mane quicker.
With pleasure, Miss Sparkle.
Picky Paper responded, sounding as though he'd rather be talking to any pony else.
Not to mention, Miss Sparkle.
Record Keeper started.
Princess Sparkle.
Twilight corrected her, with an obvious annoyed huff for what felt like the millionth time that day.
The bylaws clearly state that the grass should be no taller than 1 centimeter in height. This grass is almost certainly a good 3 to 4 centimeters.
Wow, is it?
The alicorn said flatly, not even bothering to write down the complaints the 3 ponies listed anymore.
I never would have noticed.
Maybe you need a pair of glasses then.
Motormouth suggested, almost oblivious to her obvious sarcasm.
If you're having vision problems, you should see the eye doctor. Maybe you can also talk to them about your increased risk of heart disease and diabetes from all those hay burgers. It's bound to have an effect on your health.
Yes, and so will all that nagging you 3 are doing.
Twilight frustratedly told them.
Why does all this stuff even matter? It's just grass. And my grass at that. How does having it more than 1 centimeter hurt you?
The same way a lost library book will hurt you, Miss Sparkle.
Picky Paper replied.
It might not seem harmful to some, but rules were meant to be followed, and these are the rules you must obey by.
But that's... library books aren't the same as the height of the grass?
She tried to argue, but was ignored.
Anyway, our bylaws also state you can't have your place of residence ridiculous colors. So, we do expect that to be repainted at some point.
Oh, come on! How is it a ridiculous color?
She asked, completely fed up.
That is not something any individual can determine.
Yes, it is, and we've determined it. If you want, we can bring you a list of approved colors. Most of them are shades of white and off-white, although there are few browns and grays in there.
Yeah, well, I say your colors are ridiculous. I guess that means you can't use those for your houses, which means every pony in Ponyville is in violation of the HOA's bylaws.
That's not how it works, Miss Sparkle.
Princess! It's Princess Sparkle, as granted by Princess Celestia herself!
She wasn't normally this aggressive, but the ponies of the Ponyville HOA had been pushing her all morning. Still, even as she said it, they largely ignored her, as they had been.
Seeing as you're not a member of the Homeowners Association.
Then how can you just...
As we said,
Motormouth started.
if you were listening, you're in the Ponyville city limits, so you have to abide by the HOA's bylaws. If you'd like to have a say in what bylaws are changed or vote on things in regards to your property, you'd have to submit a formal registration with the association. I mean, a book-smart pony like you should know that, right? I can't believe we have to tell you.
Fine, whatever. Where do I submit to become a member? This is ridiculous.
We're not accepting new member registrations at this time.
He said quickly, holding the most bored expression on his face he possibly could.
Besides, I'm not sure a pony like you would even have the time to attend meetings, seeing as you like to.
I swear, if you make one more comment about me going to Hayburger, I am gonna explode.
I hardly think you'll physically explode as you suggest, Miss Sparkle. Although, if you did, it wouldn't surprise me if it was because...
She turned her head in his direction and gave him a death glare, one that made him stop his sentence in his tracks, continuing on.
Well, anyway, you can make a complaint if you like. Our office is a joint office with Mayor Mayors, and all requests should be reviewed and responded to in 6 to 8 weeks. Now, if we continue on...
Twilight tried her best to pay attention and not go off on the three of them, and somehow managed to make it through the entire viewing of her property, watching as they pointed out every little thing wrong with it. She wasn't one to complain about rules. Far from it, actually. In fact, in most cases, she'd be the pony most knowledgeable to go to about rules of some sort. She understood the importance of rules and why they were meant to be followed. However, some of the rules they listed were just out there. Signs couldn't be put up unless they were painted against a red background. You couldn't carry open food containers outside. Things that made absolutely no sense to the mayor. And the three didn't give much of an explanation on why the rules were in place, only that they were, and they expected them to be followed.
Honestly, Miss Sparkle, this castle is quite the eyesore, to say the least.
Picky told her.
It's an eyesore?
She asked, completely flabbergasted by the notion.
How in the wide, wide world of Equestria is my castle an eyesore?
It's quite out of place in a town like Ponyville.
Record Keeper said.
Honestly, I don't see why you couldn't have kept Golden Oak's library here instead. It was much better suited for this town than that thing.
She pointed a hoof at the castle as she said it and frowned, clearly not particularly pleased about the change.
You think I tried to get Tirek to destroy my home?
The princess asked angrily.
Well, you certainly didn't do a good job in preventing it.
Motormouth responded.
I mean, honestly, as some pony who's expected to defend Equestria from harm, you do a pretty poor job sometimes.
Anyway, I'd say it's about time we inspect the inside.
Picky Paper got out.
Shall we?
What would you want to do with the inside? No HOA I know of ever inspects the inside of a home. You might be able to see what the outside looks like, but the inside is off limits.
We need to make sure the ceilings are in accordance with regulations and the windows are properly tinted and such. If you would so kindly lead the way.
Honestly, Miss Sparkle, I'd say it's pretty arrogant to have stained glass portraits of yourself on your windows. But then again, I'm not a Pinot.
And it's fairly rude to make a comment about every little thing.
She shot back with severe annoyance.
But then again, I'm not a motor mouth, am I?
Just making an astute observation.
In any case, there's no rule against stained glass windows, unless they're able to be seen outside the residence. But they're quite tacky, to say the least.
Picky Paper said.
And the ceilings are well within the boundaries of what the bylaws require, if not well above.
Record Keeper noted.
Although, honestly, I must say it makes you look quite pretentious, Miss Sparkle. But we have no bylaws against that, luckily for you.
Although these doors aren't in regulation, I must say.
Picky Paper said.
We require all Ponyville doors to open inwards for safety purposes.
Well, they used to open inwards, but I read a study that says...
As well, we disallow the use of fluorescent light bulbs because they're known to be quite dangerous if broken due to their mercury content, so those will have to be changed out.
Well, according to Equestria Daily, fluorescent bulbs actually save quite a bit of...
Not to mention, artwork featuring political figures is not allowed in or on the premises of any residence. That will have to be taken down, Miss Sparkle.
Oh, come on! That's Princess Celestia for Faust's sake!
Yes, some pony who is a very notable public figure.
Record Keeper noted.
Regulations require to have it taken down.
According to the rules, normally we'd ask you to take down the pictures of you.
Motormouth said.
But we've decided to grant you this exception, considering you are the pony in question. But those other 5 ponies that are your friends will have to come down too.
Okay, you know what?
Plus, it seems like there's a bit of a smell in here. Or is it coming from you? Have you had a shower yet today, Miss Sparkle?
Enough!
The mayor finally yelled, causing the trio to jump in surprise.
My word!
Record Keeper gasped, showing a hint of emotion for the first time all morning.
I would never expect such things from some pony who's a member of royalty, let alone a princess.
Well, to be fair, she is a Pinot.
Motormouth muttered.
Quiet!
The mayor yelled, which made all 3 of them flinch back and stare at her in silence.
I don't care anymore. I don't want you here. Just tell me what the fine is so I can pay you and you can leave.
Well, if you're gonna be rude about it.
Picky Paper started, sounding offended.
The cost for ignoring the HOA's bylaws is 2 bits.
Twilight blinked at them, expecting more to be said. And when they silently stared back, she said,
2 bits? That's it? 2 bits?
That's per year, to be clear.
Record Keeper informed her.
And payments must be made in full. Of course, however, we have recently added the ability to accept checks if you prefer, Miss Sparkle. It would be made payable to the Ponyville Homeowners Association.
Of course, we can't delay payment, unfortunately.
Picky Paper explained.
We do expect the amount in full at the start of each year from here on out, unless you make the required changes to your residence. Missing the deadline will result in this building being repossessed and demolished.
Not that it shouldn't be demolished.
Motormouth said.
It's quite tacky and, as previously mentioned, an eyesore, quite like yourself, Miss Sparkle.
No, you don't need to do that. I have my payment right here.
As she said it, she quickly floated over her checkbook in quill, taking no time at all to scribble what she needed to on the piece of paper.
There, all done.
She said and gave it to them.
Now you can't bother me and my castle for the next 50 years.
100 bits then? Unfortunately, we can't accept payments for future years. We can, however, take this as a donation to the HOA if you'd like. Although, don't think that this will get you any special privileges, Miss Sparkle. I know how you princesses operate. Some would say you operate on too many hamburgers and should try a salad, Miss Sparkle.
Fine, whatever. Keep the donation. Just get out of my maid and my house, please.
Well, if you insist on being rude about it.
Motormouth said.
Although, before we do leave, we must ask one more thing.
She looked at him with an expression that told him she didn't want to hear his next question, as he asked with complete confidence.
Can we have an autograph?